fuel temperature sensor is used to manage and adjust the air-fuel ratio for consistent and optimal performance in all engines, both diesel and gasoline. It communicates its data to the car's engine control unit for better air-fuel ratio optimization, especially when the engine is cold. While the fuel temperature sensor doesn't play an all-too-important role, it can still cause symptoms such as poor fuel economy, rough idle, misfires, and poor performance if it stops working properly. Hey there! I hope you're all doing fantastic, and hopefully this video gives you the valuable insights you're looking for. Let's dive right in. Most modern direct injection vehicles use a fuel temperature sensor to measure all of the variables that can affect engine performance. In this case, cold fuel is denser than hot fuel. The engine control unit can measure the fuel being injected into the cylinder by adjusting the time that the fuel injector is held open, called the pulse width. If the injector pulse width is 5 milliseconds, then more fuel will enter the cylinder if the fuel is 32 degrees F than if the fuel is 90 degrees F. Thus, the fuel temperature plays an important role in injector pulse length and fuel pressure, or in other words, in the air-fuel ratio adjustment. Fuel temperature sensor symptoms. Engine performance issues. A decrease in engine performance, such as rough idling, hesitation during acceleration, or overall reduced power. Hard starting. Difficulty starting the engine, especially when the engine is warm. Stalling. The engine might stall or have trouble maintaining a consistent idle speed. Poor emissions. A failing fuel temperature sensor can affect emissions, potentially causing higher emissions than normal. Check engine light. The illumination of the check engine light on the dashboard could indicate various issues, including a malfunctioning fuel temperature sensor. Rough running. The vehicle might run unevenly or exhibit irregularities in its operation. Fuel efficiency problems. Noticeable changes in fuel efficiency or a sudden drop in gas mileage without any other apparent cause. The fuel temperature sensor doesn't have a universal location as many of the other sensors do. A fuel temperature sensor can be located in the fuel tank as part of the fuel pump housing, which is a fairly common location on gasoline engines. It can also be in line of one of the fuel hoses, which is common for diesel engines. In this case, the sensor is very close to the high-pressure fuel pump. And lastly, it can be on the fuel rail, which is the case for port injection engines, but those engines rarely have fuel temperature sensors. Typically, the price for the sensor itself ranges between $35 to $150, with the average price being $50. As for labor, on average, hourly labor rates at a mechanic shop can range from $80 to $150, and the time required for this specific replacement might be around 0.5 to 1.5 hours, depending on the accessibility of the sensor and its location in the vehicle. So, the total cost of replacing a fuel temperature sensor can range from roughly $100 to $400 or more, considering both the cost of the part and the labor involved.